South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome in at Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White. We are here, as we always are, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. right here at this beautiful blackjack table that has been converted into a studio desk. Good. I almost said afternoon. Not afternoon yet. Afternoon on the East Coast, though, guys.
Don't split tens.
Don't split tens.
It's the tip of the day.
I've only split tens one time. I was playing by myself, playing against the dealer. And you know when you have those streaks where you feel like you just can't do anything wrong?
Yeah.
Arrogance got the best of me. What do you think happened? 13, dealer makes a 17. It's like, you know what? I deserve that. So that's the only time I ever did it. And I was only 22.
Oh, for one.
I was only 22 at the time. So I was still very, very much a young buck. Never again on that. All right. Talking about splitting tens, there's a few teams that might have to take that chance here tonight in the NHL, and we'll get right into it, guys. Last night, first, just real quick, Florida takes a 3-1 lead on Tampa, and look, I know Tampa's capable of coming out of the 3-1 hole, but that's going to be really, really tough with how well Florida has played so far in this series. They're up 3-1, and then Dallas. These zombie stars just continue to play at a level that, again, with all the injuries, was not certain they could reach. A 6-2 domination a night ago against Colorado, putting the Avs, who were a favorite going into this series, with their backs against the wall, needing Game 6 and then Game 7 on the road, Alex.
That was one yesterday that Tampa Bay really should have had and wish they could have had back, because to give up those 2 goals as quickly as they did in the third period, and then they really just couldn't get back in it. But a couple weird calls in that one as well. But, I mean, overall, NHL playoffs have been fantastic. And you're right, Dallas, I thought it was a good spot for them, plus 120. And they showed up, and they definitely dominated that game. So we'll see. I think the zigzag theory, I still think this is going to 7 between these two.
Jason Robertson, 2 goals. So nice for Dallas to get him back in the lineup. That's a big-time player that's going to be a difference maker. Yeah, it's amazing how hockey works. That you could play a entire 20 minutes in a period and nobody scores, and then Tampa gets 2 goals within, I think, a minute,
Yeah.
in the second, and then Florida does the same thing in the third. It's just I don't know if these guys let down. They relax for a second, and goal right away.
Intermission adjustments,
Yeah.
right? Intermission
Yeah.
adjustments more so than anything, I would say. But in Florida, will have 3 cracks to advance. Again, they needed all 4 cracks in the Stanley Cup Finals last year against Edmonton, but. Look at today, because the winner in that series, Alex, is getting the winner of this series in Ontario. And look, Toronto, this series is a little bit misleading. 3 overtime games, 2 wins for Toronto in those OT games. Ottawa with the Game 4 winner. Toronto, of course, won huge in Game 1 for this 3-1 lead. Again, Toronto trying not to make dubious history with still the potential to blow a 3-0. But they're minus 160 tonight with a total of 5.5 here, with a chance to wrap it up and move to round 2 with home ice as well if they take care of this series.
Yeah, I was betting on Ottawa, and I feel like I was a little shortchanged here with those 2 overtime losses, because they have played very good, but so have the Leafs, and I do think it is a little bit of a mismatch here. When the Senators' best player has been a defenseman, it makes it a little tough for them, but they're still playing good hockey. I would go under this total, 5.5 here. I mean, it's a elimination games. Senators, Omark's been good enough. I mean, there's a couple that he definitely should have had, but Stolarz has been fantastic. So I think under 5.5 is the play for this game tonight.
I'd love to make a case for the Senators, because they always say that the toughest game to win is the closeout game. So you're trying to close this series out. It's difficult to do, and it's because the Senators don't want to get closed out. So, but the adjustment, I think, was made. If this price goes up much higher, if I could get $1.70, but I doubt if I'll ever get that, that would be what I would be looking for on the Sens. I think the total's right there, though, Alex. I just because it's an elimination game. Yeah, I worry about them taking more chances. They're down 1 late, pulling the goalie with 5 minutes to go now, and you got opportunities to get some empty net goals late. So, and Toronto's a really good. They're still solid offensively, so that scares me a little bit. I'd much rather go under if it was Game 7. That it's an elimination game for both teams at that point.
Well, and that is a good point. And Colucci on with us yesterday said he didn't understand the coaching and didn't like how they were pulling the goalie so soon, but it was after Edmonton had done it, and it definitely worked out well for them. And then I think we still saw another 2 or 3 goals. So
yeah,
you're right. That can definitely happen here. But the next game, I don't think you could talk me out of that under.
I'm trying to find an empty net goal price tonight in that Toronto game. That would be the one that I would look at. You probably are not going to get a good enough price, though, because of the empty net possibilities that you just mentioned. I mean, look, if Ottawa's down 4-1 with 10 minutes to go,
yeah,
that might be goalie pull time. Omar might be out of the net if that's the case. So that price should be shorter, but it's just a matter of how short that ends up going. Alex is going to effort that while we move on to the next game, and that's New Jersey and Carolina. Again, the Devils, you know what? They've fought valiantly in this series, but in the end, they're overmatched. All the injuries, they at least don't get swept. It's more likely they're not going to be a gentleman's here tonight. The number tells you that, with Carolina being a minus 260 favorite, as we are 1 win away from the 2 favorites from setting up the Washington-Carolina clash that a lot of us wanted to see, Alex. Total 5.5 juiced under in this one.
And 3-1 to the under so far in these games. 4-1, 3-1, 3-2 overtime, and then 5-2. We did see a higher scoring game the last one, but I think this is going to be another lower scoring game. And I mean, maybe we're nervous again with the goalie being pulled, but Markstrom and Anderson have both been very good. It's really surprising. The Devils 0-12 on the power play throughout these playoffs, and they were 3rd throughout the regular season with a pretty good percentage there, but just missing so many pieces, and Carolina's really figured them out on the penalty kill. So that makes it tough, and that definitely helps my under if we're not getting power play goals either.
And I like to look at a lot what their ice they're playing on. And at Carolina, you said 3-1, 4-1. That's the Carolina defense is stellar at home, and with Anderson in goal there. So I like it under as well. under 5.5. And yeah, you always worry about that empty net goal, but I think this game, it could be a 3-1 game in the third, late in the third. And if they do pull the goalie at that point, hopefully there's just one empty net goal scored and not two.
So going back to that Toronto, just for the number here, I'm seeing empty net goal in the game plus 110. If you want to get Maple Leafs, though, it's plus 240.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I'd much rather have that.
Plus 240, yeah.
I'd much rather have that's the scenario where Toronto gets up a punt. That's very interesting pricing.
That is interesting.
Put it politely there.
Well, if you're going for the Sens to stay alive here and they get an empty net, it's plus 475.
You're better off just betting the two. Bet Toronto and Ottawa, and then just go from there, as opposed to the yes and no on that. With the way that's all priced at, very interesting there. Anything else on the second East game here tonight, guys? With New Jersey and Carolina.
Yeah, are we making a case for the Devils? No, I think that under. Maybe. What about the first period going under 1.5, and then not even having to worry about
minus
those
15 on the under 1.5 first period.
That's not bad at all.
Well, the Devils scored 2 total goals in 6 periods there. So I don't know if there's an under that you can just take the Devils under.
Yeah.
Sure, team total under.
Team total under first period, or even by period. I know you can do it by game. I don't know if you can do it by period.
So real quick, New Jersey team total. Where did that just go on me?
Probably 1.5 over money.
Totally just left me. All right. New Jersey, you either can go under 1.5 for the game plus 165 or under 2.5 minus 70. So again, DK, a little weird pricing on that. Or you can go both teams to score 2+ goals. The no is even money, which again, you're then asking, if you get an oddball Carolina 1-goal outing, you're like that. But I'd rather just have the under 1.5 plus 165.
Yeah.
If we're doing that again, like you said, Kenny, New Jersey's only scored more than 2 goals once in this series and needed 2 overtimes to do it in game 3. Just not enough horses in the stable for New Jersey. All right, let's go down the road from us. Game 5, best of 3 remains between the Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild. And VGK is a huge favorite here, guys. Minus 230, 5.5. Look, it's either, I hate giving this advice because it's counterintuitive. I either like Vegas to win by 2, or you look at that price on Minnesota. It's like, wait a second here. This series has been dead even. How are they a $2 dog on the road here? Those are the only 2 ways I could even possibly look at it, even though, again, you're on the widest of spectrums that you possibly get there, Alex.
It's funny, though, when I made the number last night, I was like, minus 199. I think that might be a little too high here for a playoff game. And then I checked what the books are, and they're even higher. So plus 195, that's not enough for me to take back here on the Wild. I like what you said yesterday, and I do believe that, something could have flipped with the Knights and that overtime win against Minnesota. And I hope we see their best effort. I mean, this is a very good home team, 29-9-3 on the year. So I do expect to get their best effort. I mean, but the Wild have figured some things out, and really, being able to just focus on the Knights team, they came out pretty hot in those first 4 games. So nothing definite for me in this game, honestly. Probably just going to watch and cheer on and actually have a team.
I went under in that game 1 and, lost with a 1/10 of a second to go on my under ticket, but did not bet it after that. And then we've gotten high scoring games, 5-2, 5-2, 3-3 going into overtime. I think back here in Vegas, though, tied 2-2. And I talk about this a lot, and it's the more you play somebody, it's like little brother, big brother playing against each other in the driveway or hockey, whatever. Little brother learns all your moves after a while, and that's what happens in these series. Everybody knows what everybody can do. You haven't saved anything through 4 games. You've used everything you possibly can use, and scores get lower and lower and lower. So I'm going to come back on this under. I think that watching that first game, it was a tough fought game, and there was no possibility getting to 6 goals, and it ended up getting there with 2 empty netters. So I I'm going to go under. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's just like the first one. It was a tough fought game. Both teams played a tough game. I can't make a case for the side. And again, I don't bet against the Golden Knights. I made up that rule about 3 years ago after losing enough money betting against them that I'll never bet against them again. That's my team. They're born here, raised here. All my kids were. So I'm just a Golden Knights fan. I don't like to bet on them or against them, but I will bet it under.
Golden Knights empty net. Plus 220 if you're interested in that way instead of the.
Yeah, again, those individual team ones are better than those yes-no, I would say. Even though I still think you should be getting a bigger price. Even though overtime in this game makes a lot of sense to me, where this is a 1-1. 2-2 would also get you there on that under as well into OT. We just saw an overtime game where Vegas won 4-3 in St. Paul. All right, now we go to the other West Series, the Pacific Pod. The other 2-2 series, again, all 4 Western Conference series enter Game 5 at 2-2. Of course, Winnipeg and St. Louis will play their Game 5 tomorrow. Dallas already won their Game 5 yesterday. Here you go, minus 125 on the Kings, plus 105 on the Oilers. Series price right now on Los Angeles currently sitting at minus 110. So, Alex, you moved the number on that from the even money from yesterday. Again, we've talked about this. We talked about this at length yesterday because of that series price, Alex. The Kings have been the better team in this series. It's just been, again, a really bad, challenging Game 3 opened the floodgates for Edmonton. And then 2 days ago, an overtime game where the Kings laid back too early, gave up 2 late goals to get it to OT, and then a controversial penalty call led to the power play goal for Edmonton to win it. Kings have been the better team in the series. It's just a matter of executing this for once here, Alex.
They have, and they've completely changed the way they play in the third period, like you said, letting them into that offensive zone way too much, especially with skaters like McDavid and Draisaitl there. So I think they're going to have to fix that and play their style of hockey for 3 full periods, and I think they can do it here in this one. Pretty crazy to see a 6.5, but every single game has been flying over that total. I still lean to the under a little bit, made this one 6. So the longer they play, maybe they know each other, don't have those moves like you're saying. So maybe lean to the under here. I'm not going to bet anything because I do have the Kings now to win this series. But I think minus 125 is a good price for this team at home too.
I think the price is right there on the side. It's a good number, and I'm going to go with that theory that the longer these series go, the lower the games get in scoring. And I talked about this, that the ice in LA and compared to the ice in Edmonton, it's a different story. The Edmonton ice is so fast, and I said I would bet it over there. I bet Game 1 under, or I bet Game 2 under. I was here last week, and I said, you know what? I watched Game 1 at 6-5 game. It was like crazy. I think both coaches really have to talk about defense, but that wasn't the case. They scored, I think, 3 goals in the first. I had the first period under and the game under, lose both those, but I knew I was going to get my money back once they went to Edmonton. Went over 6 in Game 1. The total was bet up to 6.5. I went over 5.5, actually. I went over 5.5 in Game 3, and it went to 6.5. Was an easy winner. And then I went over again, and I went over 6 in Game 4. That was not so easy. When I went to sleep that night, it was 3-1 with 10 minutes to go in the game. And I thought, or 12 minutes to go in the game. I said, I don't know if I'm going to win this game, but it was nice to wake up in the morning to see 4-3. But I felt it. I didn't watch it. I just felt, the defenses are starting to learn and figure it out a little bit, how they're going to stop these teams. Now back in LA, 2-2. I think it's such a big game, turning point in this series. This is kind of like a Game 7. I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under that 6.5 in LA.
Going for the first under of this series. All 4 games so far have gone over in Kings and Edmonton. Again, 2-2, Oilers, Kings, best of 3 across the board in the Western Conference. Excited to break down Winnipeg and St. Louis tomorrow in a series that is totally flipped around in St. Louis. All right, let's go to the NBA. That's, by the way, the Stanley Cup Western Conference playoff scenario. Again, Central and Pacific pods. Everything all 2-2 except for Dallas, who has that 3-2 lead after the win last night of 6-2. All right, to the NBA. 3 closeout scenarios in the Eastern Conference tonight. And we begin in Boston, where, again, we're all out of order on the start times, and we apologize for that. We just go off the rotation numbers here. So this is an 8:30 Eastern start time in Boston tonight. 11.5 Celtics laying. They got Tatum back for game 4. Tatum looked like himself as the Celtics went on and won to push it to a 3-1. 198.5 the total. Look, there's no bet for me here just because Boston's going to win, regardless of if Drew Holiday suits up or not. He's missed the last 2 games. Alex, this was red gentleman sweep across the board going into this series, and we're right on pace here tonight for this to end in Boston winning in 5.
It is. I think you could try and make a case for the Magic here to keep it close, at least at plus 11.5. I don't think we're going to have that give up factor like we did from the Heat last night, but I mean, I don't have a strong conviction here. Boston is clearly the better team. I mean, even with missing pieces throughout this series, but 11.5 feels like a lot of points. You made it a little higher than that, though. So I don't know how many you want to give to Orlando here to try and stay alive.
Yeah, I'm going to give 2.5 for the home revenge factor. So I'll make the game 12. I'm right on the number. Have no play. My totals, I've been betting this series under, and I'm 2-2 so far. I don't know if I like this one under or not. I made the game 198, so I'm the median score 197 so far in this total. I saw 200 open at 200 down to 198 and we're 199 right now. I guess I'm just going to pass. This is a game where Boston could get out big, and like last night, that Cleveland game, I had that under as well, and I knew when I saw the first score, 38-12 or something like that, that there was no chance because Cleveland wasn't going to play defense the rest of the game. They didn't need to. So those something more maybe to look in game if it's close early and I could still get under 200 or something like that. Maybe I will bet it under. If it's a blowout, maybe I'll bet it over. I'll run with that theory that. You get a blowout, nobody will play defense late.
Boston will play the winner of the Knicks and the Pistons, which we'll get to right now. Of course, a ton of controversy in this series. Physicality, a missed foul call at the end of game 4, which ends up costing Detroit. Knicks have a 3-1 lead. There's been such a weird series where I have no issue with it being 3-1 New York, but there's an alternate universe where Detroit swept this series 4-0. It has been a pretty compact series, all things considered, for a 3-1 Knicks lead. It's 5.5 tonight. It's 214.5. I just wonder how much gets taken out of Detroit for what happened at the end of game 4, a game where they blow a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. They don't get the benefit of what should have been a foul call in the end on Josh Hart. And now you're going back to what is pound for pound, the best environment in an NBA home environment for a playoff game. All the deck is stacked against them to begin with. I would only lay it with the Knicks tonight, Alex.
It's so crazy looking at this total, and you talked about the zigzag theory with these playoff games in the NBA with the totals as well, and we saw it over 123, 112 to an under where the Pistons actually held the Knicks to 94, and then another over, and then an under 94, 93. So does that continue? Are we looking more at an over here, or could we try and look at team totals for these two teams? I mean, Pistons 104 and Knicks 109.5. I think that 109.5 feels a little high. I mean, if Detroit's in this game, I think we're going to have to see their defense and them hold them to under 100 again.
Sometimes final scores are not the true final score of how a game ended. And game 3,
that was a bizarre one also.
It was so bizarre. It really was. It was a Knicks team that was up 9 with about 3 minutes to go, and it looked like they may close it out. And then Detroit comes back and cuts it to 3. I went under in game. I said, this is going to be tight and they're not going to score. Was I completely wrong? They scored 19 points in the last minute and 24 seconds of the game. No one could miss. I feel like this game could have fell 215 and it fell 234. So people looking at it going, oh, it was 234. I think there was a better chance, 80% a chance to go 215 than come 234. So I did bet game 4 under, won it easily. Again, this is 2-2. I really feel more comfortable when a road team's won the game, because they say the series hasn't started till the road team wins a game. And a couple of those hockey series we talked about, the road team hasn't won a game in a couple of those. So be careful of that. This one they have. I think my number came up 217, but I don't like it. I like this game under. I've seen the pace is slow. If you slow down Jalen Brunson, Detroit, you're going to be in this game and have a chance to win and keep it under.
Again, weird series. Very weird series. Like you said, Kenny, that outburst at the end of game 3, where, again, also, too, that was the clock operator screwed up the clock at the end of the game, and the Pistons actually had a chance, and very bizarre series. I expect the Knicks to close this thing out tonight. I think we're going 3 for 3 on closeouts tonight, guys, because Indiana welcomes Milwaukee. Again, Dame Lillard's season is over, and very likely his season next year is over before it even begins with the ruptured Achilles that he suffered in game 4. Pacers are 8. 223 is the total. Look, feels like a lot of points, but when you've watched this series, when Lillard has not been on the floor, the Pacers have just pummeled Milwaukee. And I don't see a path unless if it's and look, Giannis Antetokounmpo could have a superhuman game, always in play with Giannis. But this feels like Milwaukee's got one foot in Cancun at this point, especially after the Dame injury. I like Indiana laying 8 here in this one to advance, and they will go to Cleveland, who, of course, eviscerated Miami in what was a non-competitive 4-game sweep.
Yeah, I hate that Dame rushed out there and then got that injury. I would only look at the Pacers in this one. I don't really want to lay the 8. I'm trying to see other ways. I'm seeing a Bucks team total of 107.5, and definitely held under that the last 2 games, and those were with Dame. So I could see that play here for me with team total for the Bucks going under, but nothing strong in these NBA games for me.
Yeah, I think the only way to look is the Pacers here in this game. Milwaukee's got to be demoralized after losing Dame, and Indiana really has had a couple good years now. This nucleus is very good. They are unselfish. They have a lot of different scorers on any given night. You could have a different score for the Pacers, and a big number was put up. Now, I only made the game 8, and I have to give revenge to Milwaukee, so I make it 5.5. I don't want to bet Milwaukee. I don't want to take the points. I think I would rather wait in game and hope the Bucks come out with a lot of energy early and take a nice little lead in the first and be able to, lay a much cheaper price with the Pacers and just hope I can get a price that they just have to win the game. Because again, these situations, they win by 7, they'll be, celebrate like they won the Super Bowl, and you lose your bet laying that number. So I would wait in game to bet Indiana. And this is a total that's come down, but I'd be careful because the Pacers love to run. And in this situation, if this kind of game gets out of hand, Indiana could throw up a big number here tonight.
Yeah, that is the one thing. Indiana could score 140 tonight. That wouldn't shock me if they managed to do that. And that would obviously mean 223. I mean, unless if you got an epic stink bomb by Milwaukee, you would be in very good shape on that.
I think if you see Indiana start to get a lead here in this game in the second or third period, that a quarter, that's when you may want to jump in game on them at that point as well. Like, I'm looking for Milwaukee to get an early lead to lay a cheaper price, but I would also be looking for this lead to continue to snowball throughout the night.
Last one on the board, and by far the most intriguing game, and that's game 5, and the only 2-2 series that's on the board in the NBA right now. A total contrast from Stanley Cup playoffs to the NBA playoffs, but the gap is wider between the NBA teams and the NHL teams. We've known that for years and years and years. Clippers are 1 on the road in Denver. Alex, we talked about this yesterday with the series price. It's still plus 145 on the Nuggets to win the series. Again, if I had bet the Clippers at that plus price that was available at the beginning of this series, I would 100% be pivoting back and locking in the plus price guarantee win, regardless if I'm hurting my juice, because this series is dead even through 4 games for the most part. The Clippers have been better, but it's 2-2. The Clippers blew game 1, couldn't quite get over the mountain in game 4 after coming back in the fourth quarter. I'm staying off it tonight. I really don't know what we're getting here. It wouldn't shock me if you told me Denver won by 15. It wouldn't shock me if you told me the Clippers won by 15. Anything is in the realm of possibility tonight, which makes this make sense at the Clippers being only one in this one.
Right. And of course, I mean, the Clippers losing that last game at home. Are you giving some home revenge there for the Clippers? So that kind of takes me off of this game, using your numbers even between these two. I don't know what it is about the Nuggets. They make me nervous. I mean, even though it's only a point here, they just have not been great as an underdog this year. And they haven't been great at home, 18-24-1 against the spread. So I'm going to stay off as well. But you're right. At that good plus price for the Nuggets to win 2 more, it is a little tempting.
You know, the total has been adjusted from 224.5 in game 1 down to 208.5, but not one of the 4 games have gone over 208.5 in regulation. The last 2 games came 200. The game before that was a 207 game. So, you know, in Denver, they have come closer to this number, but with it 2-2, they know each other. The matchup is a slow down, lockdown defensive game for the Clippers. That's what they want to play. So I like it under. I'm going to go under this total again. Been under almost every game in this series. I think I've been under every game in this series. So it's paid off well so far.
Wouldn't shock me if we get one of those again, Kenny. 101, 100, 99, 98. Again, this has been a really good series between two teams that, again, are, to me, as talented as anyone in the NBA other than Oklahoma City. But again, we'll see how it plays out tonight. We get more tomorrow. Again, Minnesota and Golden State will look to close out on the road tomorrow, the 7 and 6 seeds in LA and Houston, respectively. Really, Warriors, Jimmy Butler dominant in the fourth quarter, and Ime Udoka doing whatever the hell he did last night with his rotations down the stretch. I think costing Houston a golden opportunity to get that series knotted at 2, and instead it's going to almost be, I don't want to say impossible, but it's going to be very difficult for Golden State to blow that series now up 3-1 with another home game in San Fran in Game 6. All right, let's take our break here. Coming up on the bottom line in moments is your trivia question of the day. We're going to tennis. Tennis question here today. Very interesting. It's someone's birthday, as we know, so you'll be on the lookout for that in a moment. And we got plenty of baseball to chat about next when we get back. Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
We're back in at Sports by the Book here on a Tuesday morning. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White. We're all here, as we always are. Kenny's with us Tuesday through Thursday. Alex and I are also here on Monday and Friday. If you're watching us for the first time, thank you. Hit that subscribe button right here on YouTube, Sports by the Book. South Point Studio, also our channel as well. And you're going to want to subscribe there as well, because the best Kentucky Derby preview in the land comes your way tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Ralph Sirocco and company, as well, including our head honchos upstairs, Chris Andrews, Vinny Maliula, and our good friend Dwayne Colucci will join tomorrow on the best Kentucky Derby preview there is tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock, Race Day Las Vegas special with Ralph Sirocco. And even Alex White will be making a pick on the show tomorrow, correct?
I will. Yes, I'm going to send in a video of my
Okay.
pick.
It's going to be, I'm going to save mine until Friday. That I will tell you is must listen TV, radio, YouTube, because then you know the horse that will not win the Kentucky Derby. That will be the one I pick, not intentionally, but it just normally works out that way for the Derby.
But they get second, right? Is that how? That's not a.
They either get DQ'd or they finish either second or third. It's one of the two things that happen on that. All right, let's go to baseball here. We'll start in Cincinnati. Reds and Redbirds. Game 2 of this series. Reds continue to play well at home. Cardinals continue to be a disgrace away from Busch Stadium. After last night's loss, the Cardinals are now a hearty 2-12 on the road. 2-12 for St. Louis, which amazingly enough is not even baseball's worst. Looking at you, Colorado. We'll get to you later. But minus 140 tonight on Brady Singer tonight for Cincinnati, plus 125 on St. Louis, 9.5 the total of Great American Ballpark.
I really shouldn't have brought that to your attention yesterday, but now you will be looking at the Cardinals.
I have no issue with bringing up the Cardinals' failings, Alex.
Have to add in 5 straight wins here for the Reds going into this one. So giving them that really just takes me off because otherwise I'd probably be looking at Michaelis in this one and the Cardinals, but I did not play them yesterday. I think that was a good move for me there. A little bit of a lean to the under. I do think both pitchers will have a good outing, and we saw a very low-scoring game yesterday as well, but nothing for me in this one.
Yeah, my numbers are pretty much right there in this game, both side and total. Maybe a Brady Singer strikeout game with the Cardinals struggling on the road. Singer median 7 strikeouts per game so far this season. I think he was a really good pickup by Cincinnati.
That was the Jonathan India Brady Singer flip this offseason. And again, the Royals have struggled offensively. Singer, like you said, had a reasonable start to begin the year. All right, let's go to Pittsburgh next. Left-handed battle. Imanaga and Heaney tonight. Cubs and Pirates. Buccos are a plus 125 underdog at home. Cubs minus 40, total 8.5 in this one, Alex.
So this one's tough. I mean, Pirates have been hitting better in their last 7. Looking at their WRC plus, it's 120. OBP 347. So they have been hitting much better. Oh, that was Cubs. I'm sorry. But still Pirates 117 and 357. But I really like Shota Imanaga to have a bounce back spot here. And we saw his 2 games. So he did have 5 earned runs against the Dodgers. And then he had 5 against the Rangers. Both of them being at home. Now he's back on the road. Last year, shut out this Pirates offense. So looking for a way to play the Cubs. Their team total is 3.5. That's one way I would look at it, going under that 3.5. First 5 for the Pirates is 1.5. You would get some plus money there because it is juiced to the under minus 135. So one of those 2 ways, Pirates team total under.
I like first 5 under in this game with Imanaga and Heaney. They've both been, I think, brilliant so far early in the season. Imanaga, 5 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run. Heaney, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, and 1 walk, 6 strikeouts for Heaney. So, yeah, he's been really good. Hitters hitting 138 against him. I'm just going to keep, backing this guy to pitch well. So under in the first 5 for me.
I will just say 13 1/3 consecutive shutout frames for Heaney. 13 2 strikeout and ball ratio.
He's been great so far. That's at 4, by the way, with a juice on the over right now out there at 4 minus 25 on that first 5. All right, great pitching matchup in Philadelphia up next. It's the Aces for Washington and Philadelphia. Wheeler and Gore, minus 85 on Wheeler, plus 168 on Mackenzie Gore. Total 8.5. I actually kind of want to look first 5 and take the plus 50 with Gore. But this is one of these weird ones where Philly's bullpen has been awful this year. And normally I like taking the worst team with a high-end starter in the first 5. But this is almost one of those oddball ones where I almost rather have the full game because of how poorly Philadelphia's bullpen has pitched so far this year, Alex.
They have definitely lost some games for this Philadelphia team. I like the first 5. I like going under that 4 here with these 2. And I know they've already seen each other, but we talked about this off air before show, and it was the first game of the year. So both of them pitched very well in that game. Looking at Mackenzie Gore, no earned runs, just 1 hit. through 6 innings. And then looking at Wheeler, 6 innings, same thing, 1 earned run, 2 hits for him. So I think because of the time in between this with a month, we can go under here with 4 again in the first 5.
Yeah, these guys are both really good pitchers. Walk to strikeout ratio for both tremendous to start the year. Gore 9 walks, 53 strikeouts. Wheeler 8 walks, 50 Ks. Both about a strikeout and a half per inning. They've been ridiculously good. So great command, great strikeout stuff. Again, this is another game that I'm going to go under in the first 5 innings.
Wouldn't be shocked on that if we get a low-scoring early outing here. Again, Nats just split with the Mets. They did lose yesterday 19-5, which is it's a hell of a score.
Embarrassing.
19-5 there on that. All right, speaking of the Mets, they return home after splitting 4 in D.C. They have the best record in the majors at 20-9. They welcome Arizona. This is one of these weird ones where a non-division team's going to play each other 2 times in 3 series. Mets go to Phoenix next week, so we're going to see a lot of each other over the next 9 games. It's a battle of lefties, Rodriguez and Peterson. David Peterson's a -140 favorite for New York, total 8.5. Real quick on the weather, and Kenny, I'm curious what your weather report has, because the one that I have in front of me is that the winds are blowing out to left at 20 miles an hour. I know there can be a little more of a swirly-ish wind at Citi Field, but that is something to at least have in the back pocket here with only an 8.5 total in this one.
Yeah, that wind will swirl a lot in that stadium. So I've really never used wind factor in that stadium because of that. So I use more barometric pressure, and I was just checking to see what that barometric pressure is there, because I think that's got a little bit more meaning to that ballpark, but I don't have that zip code pulled up here, so it might take me a minute to get that.
Probably ask Jeff. I'm sure he
get the zip code.
Zip code. I don't. For Flushing, I'm not 100% sure, but that's Flushing, Queens. For that,
yeah, I put in Queens to look it up.
Yeah,
quick.
go try
Flushing.
What?
Yeah, Flushing Meadows.
Yeah. So
it's probably a lot better look up.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I don't really. I mean,
Kenny, it's 11368. 11368 is where Seaver Way is. While you're efforting that, Alex, any thoughts on this game?
Comes up Queens.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Alex, any thoughts on this one?
I like the Mets. I want to find a way to attack them here in this offense that has been so good. They are 8th right now against lefties as well. So Eduardo Rodriguez, I mean, median earned runs is 3. If you look at just the first 5, you can go over 2.5. I mean, full game is 4.5, which is tempting as well. But I think I just want to look at them in the first 5, unless we see a little bit of a hangover from that dominant performance yesterday. Maybe the full game would be better here, but Mets for me, one way or the other. I think -140 is the right price there, though. So that's why I was trying to look more at their team total.
Yeah, south wind is straight out to center field, basically left center to center field, Jeff. And barometric pressure is not low enough to make a factor in this game. My number's 8, my total I made on this game. So I lean to the under. I like both pitchers. I like what I've seen early out of David Robertson, and Edward Rodriguez, I thought was a great pickup for the Diamondbacks. I think he's a veteran lefty that he just knows how to pitch. So both guys have pitched well enough for me. XFIPs are low for both guys. Peterson, a really good ground ball pitcher. Wind blowing out, hard to hit ground balls over the fence. So that might be a little bit of an edge to David Peterson and the Mets in this game, that he's going to get a lot of ground balls.
Going to the next game, and we have 2 scenarios like this today, and it's always kind of funny when you see this. This one's a little more ridiculous. The Braves have not named a pitcher for today, and they're a $2 favorite on the road. But that's what the Colorado Rockies in 2025 are capable of here. +180 on Marquez, an 11 here tonight in Denver. Rockies are 4-24. By the way, that is a 4-game worse pace than the Chicago White Sox were on through 28 games a year ago. That is not a good sign for the Colorado Rockies, who are gone through the quote-unquote easy part of the schedule also. I don't know, Alex. I mean, do we just use the Braves as parlay fodder here, or round robin fodder here in this one? Or do you just stay off of this one with, again, not knowing who's pitching for Atlanta here tonight.
I mean, the Braves offense has been really good. There's definitely one way that you could play it looking at their team total. It's really high, though. Scratch that. 6.5 for the Braves here in this one. And that says a lot about what Marquez has done so far this year. 5 earned runs is his median. Just 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. So, I mean, it's got to be Braves or nothing. I wouldn't even go team total. I guess you'd have to look.
Steady wind all night, straight out to center.
Okay.
10 to 15 miles an hour.
Full game.
That's pretty good for that ballpark.
All night long. Marquez has not found it. He's been just really brutally bad. A whip over 2. And so Smith-Shawver, if he pitches, he's in the same boat. You just can't trust this Rockies lineup, though. They just can't score. It's amazing. They beat me last week with Cole Reagan's first 5 innings and strikeout numbers. They can't hit anybody else. They hit one of the best lefties in baseball, and they can't hit anyone else. So I think this is a good number, maybe Braves team total over that 6 or 6.5, whatever it is. Yeah.
They did put up 3 yesterday, and they did have the lead early because I was kind of following that.
Yeah, it looked like yesterday may have gone over, but it didn't.
Yeah, you're right.
Rockies forgot how to hit again.
Been doing that a lot this year so far, Colorado. All right, going to for something a little bit different now. Yeah. San Francisco and San Diego, what a matchup tonight at Petco. And the Giants and the Padres are throwing the guys who've been their best pitchers so far this year. We know Logan Webb is already the ace and has been for a few years now for San Fran. He's a -125 favorite tonight. Nick Pivetta has been incredible to begin the year for the Padres. Whip under 0.8, ERA barely over 1. FIP is very pretty as well. Kenny, this has been a great start for the offseason acquisition of Pivetta. I'd almost look at San Diego as much as I love Logan Webb, but I'm getting a plus price with a guy who's been equal to Webb so far this year. I got to take it with a Padre team that before this past weekend was dominant at home.
Yeah, I don't like the 4-game losing streak. I really don't want to jump in front of that, but I do want to jump on that total because, you made the case for me that both these guys are pitching so well. And just, take a look at this is their median game so far, and this is the best on my sheet by far. Logan Webb, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run. Nick Pivetta, 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs. That's just ridiculously off. You're right. Pivetta actually rates out 20 cents higher. If you just match the starting pitching up, you'd make Pivetta $1.20. And I don't know if the Giants have played that much better than the Padres to make them a favorite in this game. So, I wouldn't want to lay the price. The only side I could look at would be the Padres, but I think I love the game under. You'll laugh, but I made it 5.5. And with pitchers this good, I've got to take a half run off for each guy. I think this total should be more in the 4.5 range.
So these are my favorite bets. Nats, Phillies under in that first 5, and now this one too. Giants, Padres under 3.5 in the first 5 with both of these pitchers going here today. I thought it was worse than it is. Padres are actually 2-2 as dogs, so thank you, Padres. The 2 times I had them as an underdog didn't get there for me. But I mean, look at their depth chart. Look at their lineup here. They are missing some key pieces to this lineup. So the back half has just been terrible.
And a couple of really good left-handed hitters that are out of the lineup tonight, which will probably put a right-hander or a young lefty in the lineup versus Webb. That's not good.
So it's been a while without Hayward and Merrill and some of these guys. And so they just, if you look at their WRC plus and everything too, so they've really just had a hard time at the plate. So under is the way I think you play this.
6.5, super low total for this one. First 5, currently sitting at 3.5 as well. So maybe even a little bit of that as well with these two starters.
Padres weighted runs created is 29 in the last 7 days.
It's not a good week.
No.
Not a good week. They're not hitting homers. They've really struggled. Well, this past week, they haven't hit homers. Simple as that. All right, let's go to L.A. next. Dodgers don't have a starter, and yet they're $2 against Sandy Alcantara tonight. And now, look, Dodgers won last night by a run, so Dodger run line got knocked out yesterday in a 7-6 game. Alex, Alcantara's really struggled to begin this year, but he's getting plus 145 against an undecided in the first 5. Is this the time for Alcantara to finally wake up, pitch a little bit better, maybe even take a plus a half a run, even money in the first 5? Or is Alcantara just, again, going to take him a while to figure it out after missing all of last year?
No, I wouldn't jump in here with this Dodgers lineup. That's for sure. And luckily, I mean, they had 5 going into extra innings yesterday, so I was pretty fortunate to get over my 5.5 with them yesterday. But I would just look right back there. I mean, they're 4th right now in slugging against right-handers. So it would be team total for me with them. It's 4.5 for the full game. If you want to look at the first 5 and think that they can hit Sandy, which I kind of think they do, it's 2.5 with the plus price here for the Dodgers to get 3 runs in the first 5.
I think it could happen. He has not pitched well. He's not the Cy Young Award winner we saw. It's going to take him some time. Who knows when it will be? He did pitch better in his last outing. But again, 4 of his 5 starts have been at home, pitcher's ballpark. His only start on the road was at Philadelphia, and he got knocked out after 2 innings, 4 hits, 6 earned runs. And now he's up against the Dodger lineup. I just don't think it's a good recipe for him tonight. I'd rather wait for it, see him pitch a couple of good starts and then back him when he's facing a bad team, not a good team. So I like the track you're on there, Alex, of betting the Dodger team total over. And I like the game over. I made it 10. Because you don't got great pitching with the Dodgers. They're going to go, basically, I think, bullpen by committee here in this game tonight. And the Marlins have been decent.
They were for a while.
Yeah.
No, it's been a rough.
Yeah, it's been a rough week. But the Dodger bats are on fire. They're in fuego right now. A 5.12 slugging and a 142 weighted runs created.
I don't know, 12-16 for a team with a win total in the low 60s. Not terrible pacing right now for Miami. Again, still going to finish last in the NL East, but that was expected going into the year. They haven't been a complete pushover like I think a lot of us thought they were going to be going into the year. All right, let's go to Cleveland next. Twins and Guardians. It's Paddock. It's Bybee here tonight. -135 on the Guards at home. Minnesota with a beatdown victory yesterday, 11-1. Good offense, good pitching performance by Ober. Total of 8 at Progressive Field, Alex.
I wanted to go right back here. I had Twins Guardians under yesterday, but the Twins offense really makes me nervous here and what they have been doing in the last 7 games or the last 7 days. So I'm just going to stay away from this one. I have on this possibilities Guardians team total, looking at their under and just kind of attacking them instead of the full game, but probably won't make the board. So I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, when you get beat 11-1 and get embarrassed at home, I know that they're going to be focused here tonight, and they have the better starting pitcher, far better bullpen. The win streaks, the Twins 4-game win streak, Guardians 3-game losing streak. I don't like. Now yesterday, the wind was blowing out to center 15 miles an hour yesterday, and it's going to be blowing out again today. It's even stronger.
Okay.
So could get a lot of runs here tonight. This total's got to have gone up 8-8 over 15.
Not much.
I'm going to have to take a look at this game. I may bet this game over.
8 -20 right now. It's a bunch of 8.5, and there's 8 -20 here at the South Point, which seems to be the best number on the over right now for Cleveland and Minnesota. Go to Camden Yards next. Baltimore. How about the Orioles finally winning a game yesterday to beat the Yankees to kick off that series in the city on the Chesapeake? -155 tonight on Carlos Rodon and the Bronx Bombers against Kyle Gibson. +140. Total 9.5 juiced over in Baltimore tonight, Alex.
Did you have something to add?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
No.
Yankees bats just aren't really working right now. Their offense is not the same that we saw from the start of the year when all that about the new bats, torpedo bats and everything. So it's really quieted down for them. But we have a lefty on the mound, and you know how I feel about the Orioles against lefties. So I really have nothing in this one either. I guess I'd have to look at Yankees maybe first 5, -135 in this one to have the lead after 5 innings, but nothing strong in this game.
Rodon's been good on the road, and maybe a strikeout number here. Gibson making his first start. I didn't go back to look and see how many minor league starts he's had. I'm sure
3.
Okay. That's pretty good. I like that. You know, he's always been a steady professional. He's a veteran pitcher. He's not going to go deep into this game. My numbers are right there. So I'm just going to pass. A little bit of unknown where Gibson will be, you know, again, first start, talk about midseason form. He's far, far, far from that. So this could be a game where he gets knocked out in the first or second, or he gets lucky and gets a couple of atom balls and makes it into the fourth inning and, you know, keeps his team in the game. So Yankees far better offensively right now. I think that's maybe the only way to look. Maybe it's a Yankee run line here since they're on the road and you'll get your full complementary of at-bats.
So Gibson did throw 78 pitches with 5 innings in his last start.
All right, so he's ready to go, but it's a big difference.
Right.
AAA hitters and big league hitters. And the New York Yankees. Just throw that in.
And Aaron Judge
Yeah.
is off to an outrageous start, as we brought up yesterday in our dissection of the MVP markets in Major League Baseball. All right, going to Tampa next. Bradley and Lorenzen, your matchup, Rays and Royals. 8.5 the total in this one. Rays minus 150. Kenny with a plus 135 take back on KC.
Yeah, my numbers are right there. With the 5-game winning streak by the Rays, I make it $1.38. So no value either way. I do lean to the Royals in this game, but I do like Taj Bradley a lot, and especially as home starts have been very good. Lorenzen a little bit below average on the road, so I got to give Bradley the advantage pitching here in this ballpark, kind of knowing how to navigate George Steinbrenner Field. That's a little bit of an advantage for him. Check the weather again. It's been hot down there in Tampa at 7:00 at night. It does start to cool down, but if you can get a day game here in this series, might be a good overspot.
I do like the Rays. I would lean that way with Bradley too. Maybe a strikeout prop for him because he has been very, very good. 7 is his median. And really this Royals offense has just struggled since the start of the season. They're 28th in slugging against righties as well. So, yeah, Rays are passed for me.
Moving to an AL East battle next. The Blue Jays welcome the Red Sox north of the border. We've actually already seen Garrett Crochet pitch against the Jays earlier this year at Fenway. A poorly timed error ended up costing the Red Sox that day. Crochet was a $2 favorite. Jays won 6-1 on that day earlier this month. Bowden Francis goes for Toronto. It's minus 40 on Crochet, Alex, plus 125 on Francis, and a total of 7.5 up at Rogers Center Skydome.
I would have to look at Crochet here, even though, I mean, he did have 5 hits against him in that one, but you're right, just 1 earned run, even though they did score 4 because of that error. So probably Crochet, looking at the first 5, what that price is, minus 140. So maybe throw that in. Red Sox minus 140 first 5. Find a dance partner for that.
I like the game under it. I like both these starting pitchers. It still boggles my mind how the White Sox got rid of Crochet. It's just shocking because baseball is all about pitching, and it was a great pickup by the Red Sox. 1.95 ERA, 1.05 WHIP, and looking over the last 3 outings, he hasn't been lucky. He's actually been a little unlucky. His xFIP 2.24. Hitters are hitting just 154 against him. And I like Bowden Francis. He's a guy that challenges and pounds the strike zone. So I think you get a really good matchup here. Might get a strikeout number on Crochet. 7.5 Ks per game right now on a median. And that's, obviously pitch count starting to go up. You're going to see more hitters. I think you're going to see maybe a median 8.5 Ks out of Crochet over his next 5 starts.
Wouldn't shock me one bit. Again, Crochet, the betting favorite right now to win. Well, him and Scuba are the 2 betting favorites to win the Cy Young. It could be a great race between those 2 high-end left-handed pitchers down the stretch in the American League. Oh, we only got 5 months to go of this baseball season anyway. We got plenty of time for that race to sort itself out. All right, we go to Arlington next. Athletics and Rangers, Lopez and Jacob deGrom, your pitching matchup here. DeGrom's $2. Total of 8 in this one. And like for me, this just feels like this could be a little bit too high of a price on DeGrom, who has not been his old self to begin this year. By the way, as we talked about, Road teams have been awful this year in baseball, except for the A's, who are 9-5 on the road after yesterday's 2-1 win, Alex.
That's right. And I do think this number is a little bit steep here for DeGrom. I mean, his strikeout numbers are good, not really walking guys, but has been pretty fortunate. A lot of runners left on base. So, I mean, it would have to be a look at the Athletics here at plus 180, but I don't know if I'm going to jump in on that one.
He was Jacob deGrom in his last home start, and this is a good Globe Life when the dome is closed is a really good pitcher's park. And his last home start against the Dodgers of all teams, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, and over his last 2 starts, Alex, just 1 walk and 13 strikeouts. So he had 2 bad starts. He had 2 bad starts. But his last 2 have been very, very good, and he's looked more like Jacob deGrom. I think you could get that out of him here in this game. The A's are going opener. Jacob Lopez, a lefty, a bullpen guy, is going to open, and they're just going to go bullpen by committee throughout the night. So I'm not going to back Texas here, but I would lean to the under, and maybe an under in the first 5 innings.
The under here for the Rangers at home is very high. I believe it's 13-1.
And they played well at home too. I think they're 9-3 or 10-3 at home.
Again, this has been a huge tilt towards home teams this year in Major League Baseball. Rangers are 10-4, which is good for the best record in the AL West at home to begin this year. And by the way, they're 5-10 on the road. A lot of commonalities across baseball this year with teams being great at home and just poor on the road to begin the year. But the A's, again, best record on the road in the American League, as insane as that may seem on the surface. All right, we go to Houston next. Stros hosting the Tigers here today. Astros won 8-5 a night ago. It'll be Olsen and Gusto here tonight. Gusto and the Astros, minus 120 with a total of 8 in this one, Alex.
I really feel like I should have went 2-1 yesterday instead of 1-2, but I made the mistake. I took Tigers full game instead of first 5. Numbers kind of say to do the same thing here in this one, even though I don't know if we've seen the best of Gusto yet. So I am a little bit nervous about that, but I do think Reese Olson is the better pitcher. Going in the first 5, Tigers were up yesterday, so that's the only way I would look at it. Nothing strong, though. Not going to make the board.
I like Reese Olson a lot. I think a really good pitcher, and I'm not high on Gusto. Gusto has pitched far better than what I thought he would. Maybe been a little lucky so far. But Olsen hitters are hitting 197 over the last 3 starts. I see him getting better each start. Love both bullpens here in this game, and could be a game where if they do, get off to a 3-3 game early, maybe go under a total here because of those bullpens being as good as they are. But my numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers, and I am a Reese Olson fan, so I'll be on the Tigers here today.
Again, this 1-2-3 punch, if Olsen continues to pitch well with Skubal and Flaherty at the top for Detroit, could be quite the tandem if the Tigers end up winning a division and get a best of 5 on home field. It could be, especially in a year where home field has mattered so far, could be quite the way to go. All right, Angels and Mariners up at T-Mobile tonight. It's Kutchinowicz against Miller here tonight, minus 190 on Bryce Miller and the M's. Alex with a total of 7.5.
Mariners, I would have to look at this side here. Really good 6 against right-handed pitchers. They're slugging, and they've finally kind of figured some things out here offensively. I know at home hasn't been as strong, but I do think we have the better pitcher with Seattle as well. Price is a little too steep for me to jump in, though, and lay with the Mariners. Minus 190. Wow, it's really been bet up. Steam is going that way.
Yeah, I agree that Seattle, they're playing good baseball. They're playing the best I've seen them play in a while now. Their offense has really been clicking. They've got that good pitching staff. Bryce Miller might be the weakest starter they have, though. That's the only negative, that he's a below average right-hander. I made the total 8, and this is a really good pitcher's park, and I'm normally looking to try to go under here in this park, but the way Seattle's swinging the bats right now, they could put up a big number here in this game tonight.
Well,
so I may look to the over.
Do you want
or a Seattle team total?
I was going to say Seattle team total is 4.5.
Yeah, that's a little high, at in that ballpark, but I'll probably just pass that game.
Last
the Angels have come back down to earth, definitely.
just slightly, just slightly. 12-15 after beginning the season 11-7. So a bad stretch for the Angels, to say the very least.
Wow.
All right, we go to Chicago last. South side, it's Gilbert against Peralta. The ace for the Brew Crew go against the White Sox tonight. Minus 250 on Milwaukee, total of 8. Cubs at plus 210. I don't think there's any justification for doing anything with the White Sox. Don't get too cute here. Just stay off of this, at least in my opinion, on the side. I don't know about the total here, guys.
Maybe lean to the under here with Freddie Peralta going for the Brewers. I just didn't check weather, and I need to make sure I do that now after my loss yesterday. But
Yeah, definitely gonna have to check that, because I think that's, there was some tornadoes headed through Oklahoma up towards Chicago, so we might get a lot of southwest winds there today in Chicago. So definitely check that ballpark. I haven't checked it yet myself. My numbers are right there on this game. I guess I could make a case for under in the first 5, because I do love Peralta, and the White Sox going with Tyler Gilbert. He's an opener. He's a bullpen specialist, a lefty. So maybe they, throw up a couple zeros early against the Brewers in this game and keep it under the total in the first 5.
yeah.
Real quick, weather-wise, crosswind tonight, 10 miles an hour crosswind. So,
Okay, nothing.
I do want to ask you, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot, and I know you don't have your numbers or anything, but with what Jeff and I have been talking about and the home teams just being pretty dominant, when do you think we'll see the evening out and the turnaround and some road teams start to get hot here? Or
as I mentioned, this is probably the one anomaly of years that the home teams are doing this well early on, and it could have a lot to do with matchups. Again, the White Sox and Rockies can't win on the road, and there's a couple of other teams now we're throwing into the mix. The Cardinals can't win on the road. So in the first month of the season, over the last 40 years that I've been keeping numbers, the home teams are 50% in the first month of the season. I haven't gone and see what it is this year.
Well, way better than that.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. But again, if you throw out the 3 worst road teams in baseball, it might level things out to where it's supposed to be. Now it picks up to where the home field is worth 10 cents the next 3 or 4 months. But in September, the home field's usually worth 20 cents because the teams that need to win and are at home do win at a higher rate in September. So I'll do some work on it overnight and come up with some numbers.
Real quick, only 5 teams are underwater at home so far this year. Rays are 9-10. White Sox are 4-8. A's are 6-9. Pirates are 6-7, and Colorado's 3-10. Everybody else is 500 or better at home. And as we will just keep monitoring this, teams that are better than 500 on the road right now, the Rays are actually over 500 on the road. They're 5-4, so small sample size of anyone. And then the A's are the only other one over 500 on the road in the AL at 9-5. In the NL, over 500 on the road, the Cubs are 8-5, the Reds are 9-6, the Giants are 10-6, and the Diamondbacks are 7-5, and that is it. 6 teams over 500 on the road in Major League Baseball. There are a few teams at 500, but only 6 are above that plateau at the moment. Mets, Yankees, Red Sox, and Mariners, the 500 road team so far. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get the whiteboard set up, give you a trivia answer as well when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
We're back in Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White. Wrapping things up here on a Tuesday. We'll start with ticker trivia first. And it's a tennis question. How about that? Which tennis icon, year in number one in 1999, and only one of 5 men in the open era to achieve the career Grand Slam? It's his birthday today. Do either of you happen to know it? Kenny?
Vegas' own.
Yeah, Vegas' own is a good start to it, Alex White. And I think that gives it away for everyone out here. And that's the one and only Andre Agassi, who's celebrating a birthday here today. Andre Agassi's 55 years old. Wow. That is amazing in its own right at this point. One of the greats of all time. Of course, also won the gold in 1996. He's the most recent American to win the French Open and the Australian Open.
Wow. 22
years ago for the Aussie Open and 26 years ago for the French. Been a very long time coming on that. Nick, 3 in a row on trivia. So we might have to rename the Invitational the Nick Invitational, not the JR Invitational at this point. JR had been beaten to the punch the last few days.
Someone might have got JR because he is not born and raised in Vegas, right?
Well,
I will just say, the book Open, Andre Agassi's book, fantastic. Read it, listen to it, however you like to consume your books.
The poll, by the way, today, which series does not end tonight? Poll was 60% Knicks and Pistons, which of the other choices, that's probably right. And then 20% on Ottawa and Maple and the Toronto series, which basically means that everything was compact on that regard for that one. All right, whiteboard time here on a Tuesday. And boy, this was going to be a very spicy, long whiteboard here for Alex White here. But
no, that's not it.
No, I know.
Okay.
The almost famous board is a very spicy board today, but Alex is up first here today on this Tuesday edition.
You made me nervous.
I got you.
4 plays for me. Going with my 2 favorites here with the Nats and the Phillies under 4 first 5. And the Giants and the Padres under 3.5 first 5. 4 really dominant, great pitchers going in those games. Dodgers team total, I'm just going full game here, over 4.5. Cash for me yesterday. And I'm going to go with the Red Sox, minus 140 with Crochet bounce back from the last game against the Blue Jays.
And I'm back to being the Undertaker once again. Detroit, New York. I'll start with the NBA. Pistons and Knicks under the 214.5. Clippers, Denver under 208.5. Jump into the ice. New Jersey, Carolina under 5.5. It's my best play in the NHL. Major League Baseball, 3 first 5 inning totals. The best pitching matchups in the night. San Francisco, San Diego under 3.5. Boston, Toronto under 4. And Washington, Philadelphia under 4 as well. So all 1% plays. You got 6 bets. Don't go crazy. But I think they're all solid unders.
Alex, Kenny, Ryan. Thankfully, since it's a playoff game, Ryan does not get the benefit of being able to slap me here tonight on the only thing I'm going to be on. I'm on Indiana, laying the 8 against the Bucks. Milwaukee's got 2 feet in Cancun already. I think this could be a real beat down here tonight. And you mentioned it, Kenny. Maybe even just wait a little bit. Maybe Milwaukee gets up like 7-2 and it's down to 5 or 4.5 and then come in. I think this is an Indiana romp tonight. And also I'm on the Padres as well. I think they snapped that losing streak and get it done tonight against the Giants. Plus 110, the best number out there on San Diego. All right, we're back tomorrow. We get it going again. Kenny, Alex, good luck. Get some winners. Shout out to the crew. Vince, I'm pointing at nothing. There's a big tarp in front of the new setup down here. Vince, Drew Dog, and Ryan, the touring Jerry as well, out there back again after a nice little trip. Rock on, my dude. Absolutely. We'll see y'all tomorrow. This has been Sports. Yeah.
Sorry, shout out to the chat as well.
Yeah,
All the regulars in there. So good to see you.
Good to see everybody in there. Chatting along as always. Chat along again tomorrow with us. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.